Hi everyone! Up next is our session on creating your essay outline. So I don't know about you, but I like to be organized. I like to have things in sequential order, usually of how I need to have things done. I like to create lists and check off or cross off things as I accomplish them. That's something that works for me. And as a visual and kinesthetic learner, I learn best and function best by looking at and physically writing or typing things I need to know. So for me, taking notes and keeping organized is a very important part of how I learn. We will go through today information and tips and tricks on how to create an essay outline. And that is so you are prepared to create the best written essay that you can. So think about it. If I told you you had to write an essay on the history of social media and said just write, type, whatever, that would be overwhelming. You wouldn't know where to start, you wouldn't know where to go, you would know what to include, what not to include. So, creating an outline will help alleviate some of that overwhelming pressure you feel when it's time or when asked to write. Essentially, what an outline does, it helps you organize your thoughts, present your ideas logically with a natural flow, as well as clarify your thesis and your conclusion. So what your outline should do is tell the whole story in point form from start to finish, and it leaves space for you to put in the details as you physically write or type. And it also acts as a guide to make sure you cover all of your important points that you felt were important enough to put in your outline. So, to create an outline, you can take your brainstorming ideas. So, remember when we took our main topic and then brainstormed a whole lot of other related or unrelated ideas? And then we transferred those ideas, concepts, relationships into an idea map where we had our main topic as well as the branches off the main topic to develop connections, relationships, and a sense of organization. You take those two pre-writing strategies and you turn them into an outline. And like I said, an outline is kind of a point form bulleted list from start to finish plan on how you're going to complete your essay. Now, like I said, you're going to fill in the blanks or I guess add detail and develop your ideas when you write your paragraphs. But having them organized and listed will give you an excellent starting point when it's time to actually write your essay. Let's watch this video clip on how to write an outline.
What is an outline and why is it important? We know why it's important for a crime scene, but we're guessing it's a little different when it comes to writing. An outline is basically a plan for your writing. It helps keep your thoughts and ideas organized in a logical order, unlike most of your waking hours. First, we start with the title. What topic are we going to be writing about? For example, if we're going to be writing about whales, that would be our title. If you titled it something like The Winds of Loneliness, it might sound more dramatic. But it's not all that accurate, and won't give your readers a good idea of what you're getting into. After you got your title nailed down, you list out your main ideas. Main ideas are ordered 1, 2, 3, etc. with Roman numerals. So, I, and so on. Lots of I's in there. Our main ideas might be something like whale anatomy, whale habits, whale life cycle. Then, under each main idea, we include details labeled A, B, C, and so on. So under Roman numeral 1, whale anatomy, we might include details like A, blowhole, B, flippers, C, fluke. If you want to add even more detailed details, they would be included underneath each letter, using lowercase letters or numbers. Depends on how in-depth you want to get on blowholes. Just don't go too deep. You might never be able to find your way out. So yeah, an outline helps us keep our ideas organized, assists with the brainstorming process, and gives us something to refer back to while writing. Cheers for outlines!
So essentially, you can use whatever outline structure suits you the best. The main thing is to differentiate between your various levels of organization. So the main thing is to organize your topics together where they belong to create a logical, organized flow. Here's an example of an outline that uses just classic hierarchy, and what it uses is Roman numerals to differentiate between the different paragraphs, as well as letters and Roman numerals again for the subpoints. So the topic sentence or the main idea of each paragraph is a Roman numeral, and then supporting evidence is in uppercase letters, and then additional supports or evidence or ideas or information to support your supporting idea fall underneath as Roman numerals again or lowercase letters. Now, this may be complicated or complex to you using a combination of Roman numerals, uppercase, lowercase letters. So don't stress out about the format. Just make sure you use a system and a format that works for you. It could be 1, 2, 3, A, B, C, and it could even be color coordinated. Just something that is easy for you to follow and will keep you on track to create a great essay. An essential part of your essay and something that should guide your, topic selection, should guide your outline, and should guide your actual physical writing of your project is a thesis. And the thesis statement or the thesis sentence is the main idea of your entire paper. So at this early stage, you won't have a full thesis statement yet, because at this point you're pre-writing, you're gathering evidence, and you're planning. So you probably won't have your final thesis ready yet, but it is important to create a working thesis statement. And this will be in the back of your mind or on a piece of paper, on a post-it note in front of you to remind you where you want to go. So by creating a working thesis, and working thesis means it's a work in progress. It's not quite ready for final publication yet, but it is something that's guiding you along the way. By doing this, it gives you enough focus and enough direction, but also gives you the freedom and the opportunity to make changes as you go. You may have an idea in your head and a thesis statement in mind, then you may make an awesome discovery about a piece of evidence that you've not heard before, but you know you need to use. Well, if it relates to your thesis statement, you're simply able to adjust. So that's the importance of creating a working thesis. Eventually, you create your final thesis, and that is going to be the sentence in your essay that identifies your main idea and your central purpose. It could be an argumentative thesis. It could be an informational thesis, but it's going to be a strong statement that's going to clarify for the readers what your paper will be about and what you want to tell them. I hope after this information you realize the importance of outlining as well in the writing process. So to finish off, here are some tips to create effective outlines. So, like we just learned, thesis statements are important. So include a rough description of your thesis or your working thesis statement. And you do this so you can check that all the points that you put in your outline relate back to the thesis. You should jot down some notes about how your sections connect to each other. Now this is important because eventually we're going to talk about transitions, and that is smooth movement from either sentence to sentence or paragraph to paragraph. And by providing some words about how your sections connect, that will help you create great transition statements between your ideas. Also, be ready to make changes. Be open to modifying your outline. And this could happen because as you go along, you could make new discoveries and have to insert some new ideas. And when you do that, the logical flow of your points may change. So be open and willing to make changes as well. Always include enough information to show that you have a sense of what examples and evidence you plan to use. So it's good to have the ideas there, but also make them enough that you're not thinking, oh, what was I going to use there for support? Or what was I thinking? Bullet points are nice, and if you can get away with them, and if they're self-explanatory, that's great. But sometimes you may need to include a little bit more information, just to be sure you don't forget what your intention was. Format the list or the outline in a way that works for you. Like I said, you can color code it, you can change the font, you can modify how you indent, whatever works for you. I will ask to see your outline, but I'm not going to mark it on the type of list you create or the way you format it. As long as it makes sense to you and you can logically follow your plan, that's going to be good enough for me. And lastly, let someone else look at your outline. Let them look at it just to see if there's something missing or something doesn't make sense or the flow is off. Now it's interesting because if they ask you questions and you can answer the questions, it probably means it makes sense to you and it's going to be fine. But if they ask you questions or point out inconsistencies or bits that are unclear, and you can't explain them or figure a way to fix them, then your outline might need some extra work. So like I said, I am going to ask for a copy of your outline, and that is just probably as a convenience or as a point of clarification, just to make sure you're on the right track as you get going on your project. So if you haven't written an outline before, and if you feel like, oh, it's not my thing, we're going to give it a try for this writing project, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you can come up with.